check. What is going on, all of my Siser peeps? Hello, hello, hello. Small little camera adjustment. Sorry about that, guys. Had to plug in the computer for this one. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Siser Live. Welcome back to another Siser After Dark. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Obviously, as you've been seeing, a little bit of buzz here and there on social media is that we are now officially in the new studio space. Now, this isn't obviously our intention behind the backdrop and all the fun stuff that you always see, all the good things that we have here at Siser, but we are slowly working on it. And as I know, there's a bunch of random electrical poles in here that'll be coming out either tomorrow or the next day, and then we can hop in and start designing the sets and making some really fun stuff. So make sure that you let us know where you're chiming in from. It's been a minute. We got a lot to update you on. Very exciting things happened recently. The crew and I at Siser, that's all of us here, we all went to Printing United in Orlando, Florida, which is the biggest trade show in our industry of the year here in the US, or one of the biggest, should I say. And we had an awesome, awesome time. We got to see a lot of really fun, familiar faces, some new faces. We've got to have a really good time and really spend some quality time with you guys. So thank you guys, whoever came to Printing United, whoever stopped in the booth to say hello, take pictures, hang out with us, learn a thing or two, as I always say, from us. We always appreciate it. So let us know where you're chiming in from. I got to go around the room, as you know. Now, because we're still figuring out the studio space, my counterparts are at home today monitoring in the comments. They said, Patrick, listen, you don't even have a chair for us to sit down in here right now. We gotta be able to follow along, pay attention to your questions and answers. So the salt and the syllables himself, so grammatical gatekeeper, you know him, you love him. Adam Sneath is hanging out in the comments. Give him a little clap it up for him. Some hearts down here for the man, the myth, and the legend, Adam Sneath. Just got to hear his bird, by the way, for the first time. I don't even know if he's made that public yet. Sorry, Adam, but breaking news here on the live. We can edit it out later, but it's got a bird. That's awesome. Anyway, you know her. She's the one that creates all of our graphics here at Siser. She's got the creative juices flowing, and actually, big part of this project, I'll explain a little bit of that in a moment, what we're going to be doing today in making dimensional decals. That's right, PSV, HTV. We're smashing them together. We're wrapping some stuff. We're having some fun, but it's our very own Emily Cargetta. You guys can say hi to her in the comments, get some hearts going for Emily. And it goes without saying, she's probably already put it here in the comments or has her finger on the enter button ready to say it herself, but it's the maestro of the evening, the one, the only. It's Anna Kaiser, also hanging out in the comments. And there's a ton of them in here as well. Tony's in the comments because there is some new things happening around the Siser universe. There's Anna. She said it. Already she said it. But with that, there's some new things happening here at Siser, and I'm really excited not only to get into a live, get it back into crafting, take a deep breath, and have some fun together, but we're also going to talk a little bit of shop. So it's going to be fun. So anyways, today we're doing something really cool. Now, Emily, from what I remember, so she can correct this in the comments. Oh yeah, Adam said he missed those listen, I miss them too. I miss having the crew together and all of us being in here, and soon we're going to have the studio built out. We're all going to be one again. So it'll be really fun. But when Emily first kind of came around, and you know, she is known for creating really, really cool things. Well, she came up with this idea to kind of dress up one of our cutters one day in a fun holiday theme. This was a couple years back. And then that kind of steamrolled into the next holiday where she was dressing up our cutter again in another fun holiday spirited something. But, you know, we kind of wanted to show you guys a little thing you can do, not only if you have a Romeo or a Juliet. Oh, let me flip her around here. Romeo or a Juliet. Something that you can do to kind of change the color, change the vibe, change the feel. That's what we're doing here today. So what we're going to do is 3 different things. Number 1, I'm going to show you how to use just regular PSV, pressure sensitive vinyl, or the sticker stuff, as some of you guys might know it. I'm going to show you how to use PSV not only to color change your Juliet. We're going to do the top panel in just a single color of PSV, make it look really fun, really cool for you. Then what we're going to do for the side panels and for the front door is I'm going to use some various different types of heat transfer vinyl. And that's right, I said it, heat transfer vinyl on your cutter. The vessel here, my friends, is pressure sensitive vinyl. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take some heat transfer vinyl today. We're going to create a cool design in Leonardo. We're going to apply it to our pressure sensitive vinyl, and I'm going to show you how to slap it onto your cutter. And hopefully you guys find this project really fun. And as you know, as always, Emily's making cool stuff in Leonardo. She's thrown it over into the design library for you. So the file I used today for this Juliet is already inside Leonardo, ready for you guys to decorate on your own. So without further ado, or do, let's hop into the live. So we got a bunch of people in here. We got D is hello from West Virginia. I have family in West Virginia. Hello, D. We got Deirdre in here. I got to bounce around Anna and everybody else's comments really quick. We got Monique. We got Michelle in here. We have Paula. We have Carolyn. We have, let's see, Kristen Senchi is in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thought I saw Roseanne somewhere in here. We got Rosalind is hanging out with us. Miss Fletcher, hello, hello. Well, hello, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited to hop in, and let's get started now. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to show you this template inside Leonardo, okay? I want to also show you how to break this template down into individual pieces. So if you do want to create a multicolor cutter wrap, you can definitely do that. Really simple. And then what we're going to do is show you how to efficiently wrap your cutter so that you don't get any crazy bubbling and all that kind of stuff. So fingers crossed on that part, because, you know, if it's going to happen and get messed up, it's going to happen to me live, but we'll figure it out together. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hop directly into Leonardo Design Studio. Now, you guys already know, like I said, that Emily had put this template in, as I just mentioned before, but right now we have the template already broken into pieces. So I'm going to open up a new folder or a new file. I'm going to change my width and height, just as a little pro tip for the video and anybody watching after. Change it to 20 by 20. This is going to allow you to fit all of your cutter pieces, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the design library, and as you can see, I searched cutter for this one. Once you pop up cutter, it'll have the Romeo, the Juliet, it'll have a blade holder, but right here is what we're looking for, the Juliet cutter wrap template. And just for the sake of the video, this is ID number 86113. Okay, 86113. Okay, now, you guys already know, if you're a Leonardo Design Studio Basic user and you have a friend that has Pro and you want this file to go cut it on your Cricut or anything else, you can have them download it, or have them put it on their thing, export it, send it on over to you. You guys already know. Anyway, I digress. Back into software. With that, what I'm going to do is once I pull up the actual template itself, everything is grouped together. Thank you so much for that, Adam. Appreciate that. I'm going to right click and I'm simply going to hit ungroup. So now each piece of this cutter is all separated. Okay. Now for the sake of this conversation, let me actually mute all of these because we don't need any of those. Sorry. Woohoo. We don't want to see any of that stuff, people. Let's see. This way, this way, this way. All right. We're going to mute those. Get out of that. Okay. Well, I'm back with you. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you guys didn't get a bunch of notifications. With that, I have now my 2 end pieces. Okay, so obviously the 2 oblong circle-looking things are my end pieces. This middle section here is actually going to be the hood of my cutter itself. And then this is what's going to make up not only the front tray, but where the power button is, and then over on the other side where the Juliet logo lives. Okay, so multiple pieces to this. We're going to break this down piece by piece. Now for this top part, I'm just going to focus on the top door piece. Okay, so I'll hit send design, hit send design again. And now this piece, if I want to add an auto weed box, I like adding those to my cuts just because it allows me to not create as much waste. It also allows me a good center point, and I will explain that in a moment on how to find that. But I'm going to simply highlight all of my design, and I'm ready to send it on over to our vinyl cutter. Okay, so with that, let me go ahead. Let's do this one, Starling PSV. This is Blue Skies is the color of this one. I want to roll out, and don't laugh at me because, again, we're in a reduced studio space. I'm using a smaller table, so I'm hand rolling out my PSV for this. Could have totally just grabbed a roll holder, rolled it off that way. But for the sake of time and me having to run all the way over there, which I'll probably still have to run over and grab something later, I wanted to make sure that we can make this fast. So anyway, loading up my material. Check this out, guys. Got a fun little camera for you. Oop, not that one. This one. Boom. Look at that. Automatic. It switches for us. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my material. Again, I just usually load my material. I push it right up against the pinch wheels, hit the up button, and it'll start to load for me. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my blade is in that bottom left-hand origin, that bottom left-hand corner like we talk about all the time, okay? With PSV, it cuts anywhere between a force of 5 and 10. So I got it set at 9 right now. I'm just going to do a quick test cut. All I want to do is make sure that the actual little t-shirt pops up for me and weeds out appropriately. There we go. Got my little t-shirt going. Done. And now what I can do is I can just bring my blade back into whatever that starting position is going to be for me, which again is going to be that bottom left corner. And then what I'm going to do is actually take my file and we'll do a quick area test. Now, the fun part about an area test is it will run the perimeter of where your cut will be. So if your material is cut too short or it starts to travel on you, you can catch those mistakes really early. So again, we're not mirroring our design for this one, but I'm going to go ahead and send this on over, let it do its thing and cut. And then what we're going to do is get back onto the actual wrapping of our cutter itself. All right. So that one's going right now. It's wrapping. It's doing its thing. I got a couple side panels that we're going to use here in a moment. I'm going to show you how to actually create a design, how to use things like the intersect tool to create an overall design and fill this and just keep those shapes, make your life a little bit easier. But for now, let's start out by moving some stuff to the side. All righty. And while I'm setting this up, let's kind of go into the comment section and let's see what we got. Let's see. What are you doing, Anna? Oh, yeah, that probably was literally her telling me everything I need to remember. This is why she's the maestro. She keeps us all in check. All right. So I'm just going to set up my area a little bit here. Let's see, what other question? The Ruthie got a roll holder on a deal with Ellie Mae. Yeah, that is an awesome, awesome one. I tried to use it once, roll it back and roll out the material. Does the roll have to be underhand rolled? No. So that's actually a really good question. So this one was actually more of a comment or a concern about it. He recently got a roll holder on a deal, tried it once, but it didn't seem to roll back once it rolled out the material. So the roll holder, I will tell you, doesn't have like an automatic feature where it rolls a roll. You got to kind of manually do it. However, depending on the way that the material is made, it's either going to run over the top of the roll, or if it's an HTV or heat transfer vinyl, it'll actually run with the adhesive side facing up. So really that one will run underneath. Now, for the roll holder itself, I always suggest to folks that you kind of, I don't want to say pre-roll out your roll, but pull a little bit of slack so that it doesn't pull and jar your machine, which then can cause your material to like start unspooling too fast. And you know, once you get that cycle going and the weight of that material hangs down, it's going to unspool forever. So I've told people there's two things you can do. You can either kind of pre-roll or roll out your material just so you have a little bit of room to work with once you actually put your material on the roll holder. I'm sorry, once you're actually cutting out your design. Or what you can always do is I actually have at my house a couple of little tiny, like, I don't know, hand or little tiny weights that kind of paperweight things that I can throw in a core if I ever have that issue. I don't typically have it much, but sometimes it has. Oh yeah, Karen says, is it best to measure before cutting? You can. I like to. I mean, for like a project like this, where I don't want a ton of wasted material, as you can see, pretty much cut that about the length that I needed it already. So kind of works really well that way. Alrighty, so I got it weeded out. Let's pop on to the overhead here. Here is our panel that we're working with. Get that test cut out of there. One thing I didn't remember, Anna, can you send me a message on a garbage? Did not grab a garbage. No big deal. So I have my panel. Let's bring our cutter into the frame here. And as you can see, this panel will actually go over this cutter. Why is this a little bit too small though? I might have to size this really quickly. Whoopsie doodles. All right, so we're going to recut this really quick just because this was cut a little bit, or this was made a little bit small, but that is a-okay because all I need to do is grab a quick little measuring tape. So why don't you guys come with me really quick? Come on over. I got to grab. There's a bunch of the studio you're going to see. Sorry for the mess, but I got to grab a piece of measuring something or a tool somewhere. See, this is the reason why I brought this camera in here, is because I knew that you guys always get mad at me when I go off camera to grab stuff. So now you can see me rumbling around when I need things. Oh, here we go. All righty. So good news is, Emily says, Patrick, I got a file for you. Bad news is, she also told me to measure, and I didn't do that in advance. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm measuring just the top panel itself. Oops. That looks like that's about 22.85. Okay. So now what I can do is go back into Leonardo really quickly. And because I'm going to assume that everything's not scaled, I'm just going to change the height to, let's see, let's go 22 inches or 23. There we go. Cool. All right. So actually, I'm going to grow this out just a little bit more. Sorry about that, guys. And then build this out to about 30 inches, just so we have some room to cut everything. Going to bring these in so everything fits on screen, and we're going to actually send this back to recut. And the funny thing is, too, I even measured my stuff in advance, the material. So anyway, all right, we're back on track. Let me go ahead and grab our roll one more time. Roll out that material one more time. Yeah, that was just a small little preview of the new studio space. But that was mainly our shipping area. Anna likes all the stuff being close so that when you guys have requests and you guys need things, she can ship it out really quick to you. All right, so I'm just going to load the cutter one more time. And now we're back on track. And because we already did a test cut, I'm not going to worry about doing the test cut right now. I'm just going to hit send to cutter and then have that one going. All right, what kind of questions do we have really quickly while we're waiting on that? Great question, Sandra. So Sandra asked, is the Leonardo software only used for the Siser cutters? Yes, at this time. Distinction there, yes. At this time. Sorry, Emily. I didn't know if it was a me or if it was you. I knew you told me to measure just to double check, and I didn't. I'm sorry. But at this moment in time, yes, it is for our cutters themselves. With that said, though, if you do have like a Cricut, a Silhouette, you can use Leonardo Design Studio to design. You're able to export if you're a pro subscriber. As I always tell people, the way around that is find somebody who is a pro subscriber, have them send you the file. But you 100% can export out of software if you want, and you can still use your other cutters, okay? So a lot of people I found used it for various things. They've used it from anything from actually designing to grabbing some files out when they need to, helping convert some files when they've needed it, especially if they're trying to convert, you know, a SVG, create a PNG, things like that. So you get a lot of options and I think a lot of versatility in the software itself if you choose to use it. I don't need ordinary vinyl on a mat. Oh, sorry, brand new at this. I don't need to put ordinary vinyl on a mat. No, you don't. That's a really great question there. You don't need to put your vinyl on a mat. You can cut on and off the mat with this cutter, which makes it a beautiful, beautiful thing to have. So let's hop onto the overhead now. Now I have my panels measured correctly. I did my job the right way. I promise. I promise. I promise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my transfer tape. And this is really just for anybody that doesn't already know how to use, PSV or any type of adhesive vinyl. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay out my transfer tape just about the length of my project itself. Flip it over. And here's where we really need to kind of focus and pay attention in this project, okay? So I'm going to remove my transfer tape. There's a lot of different ways that you can remove and apply transfer tape. I just prefer to remove the whole kit and caboodle. And then I like to fold it right in half. And I like to go right from the center, lay it down, roll it out to the end, and then roll it out to the end to the other side. So then now what I can do is I can grab a squeegee, which I love it. I didn't grab that either. I can grab a squeegee, and then I can actually squeegee out any of the air bubbles or anything that might come up from that transfer tape. All right. So let's go ahead and get all the bubbles out. Done, 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 and done. So here is the tricky part. And here's what I always tell people when you are wrapping anything, okay? We're going to use the same carrier, but I'm going to show you a little trick. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut super close to the edge of our design. Not cut off our design, but we want to cut with a little bit of white space on the edges. You know, kind of like when all you Cricut users, you're using the print and cut feature, those little white spaces you have on your PNGs, we actually want those on this. Sorry, it's been a month, guys. I got one slide of the hand. I promise I won't do it a bunch. All right, so we're going to go ahead, cut it on the side. Done, done. Get rid of all of that. And here's where the little trick is, okay? I'm going to flip this over, and I have my transfer tape, okay? I'm going to start to peel off my transfer until I get to about the halfway point, okay? And as you can see, I'm not perfectly 100% halfway. I got a little bit of give here. I'm going to now take my scissors. I'm going to simply just cut it. Just like that. And then now what I'm going to do is take this half, and I'm going to give myself a little gap in the middle, just a small gap, just like that. And now what I'm able to do is that when I pull, and what you're going to see is I'm able to line up my actual PSV. I can partially see through into where this will actually line up. And then here's the easy part. I'm going to take my scissors. For this particular design, I suggest cutting this little panel out just because it'll make it easier to go around the user interface and you won't get hung up too much on the end. Okay. There we go. So there we go. Now we're right around the user interface, just like that. So I have this little gap that I added, right? What I'm going to do is I want to take my cutter. I'm going to put it long ways just so I can see everything that I'm doing. Make sure that that end is lined up. Make sure this end is lined up well. Done, done, done. I'm going to take my PSV where that little channel is. I'm just going to press it down so it kind of starts to stick to the actual cutter, just so everything stays in place. Okay. Next, I'm going to actually, you know what? I'm going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to do this long ways because I think this will be easier for you guys if we just do this long way. So I'm going to actually hold it long ways just like this. I kind of changed my mind last second. I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line of tape all the way across the back side of this design, and I'll explain why in a second. Take my tape, lay it on one side of the cutter, and put it all the way across, and then we're going to attach it to the other side. And all this tape is going to do is help to hold my PSV in place. So once I get on to the next step of wrapping this, I'll be able to grab the tape and I'll be able to like work around it. So you'll see here in a second. Let me wrap that around, stick that to there, make it easy that way. Now, another method that you can use too is you can also just simply use parchment paper as well. It's really easy to see through when you're doing projects like this, but definitely lots of different methods. So anyway, what we're going to do, we just cut off this one edge. Okay. What we're going to do first thing is I'm going to hold the actual piece in place. I'm going to peel up this carrier. And I'm going to work on this actually in sections because I cut it down the middle already. And I'm just simply going to peel this up. And then I'm going to rip my carrier. And as long as we can get one piece down flat, the rest kind of follow suit. So let me go ahead, wrap that around the user interface. Done, done. And just so you know too, as a little pro tip, this doesn't permanently bond right away. So you have some time. If you happen to make a mistake, you have some time to go back, kind of lift up that material and fix your mistakes really easily. But what you'll see when you are actually squeegeeing out the bumps is you'll actually see the air bubbles through the carrier a lot of times. So it's really easy to kind of go through, make all of that work super, super easy and super well. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this side. All right. There we go. I'll peel this side up again. And now what I can do is I can peel this to where I can peel off the rest of that carrier backing that I had. And now I can slowly lay this down and start putting this piece or this panel into place. So I'm just going to lay it down flat. Make sure that with the air bubbles that I have, if I have any air bubbles, that I'm working those around the cutter to the front and the back, just to the edges. And there we go. Now we're cooking. And again, I can always peel up my material if I need to, and I can lay this back down. Some people suggest with wrapping, especially when you're using adhesives, they'll suggest a lot of times using something like a heat gun. Here's the thing. There's electronical components. To begin with, they're not cut straight. That could be why, but at least Pat, see he has any other ideas. Oh, okay. I'll get to that in 1 second. So with this, a lot of people will suggest when you're working with pressure sensitive vinyls to use like a heat gun. Here's the thing, electronical components, there's plastic and stuff like that in this cutter. Not a great idea to think about it that way when it comes to like the Romeo or Juliet, only because you run the risk of like messing up any of the internal components. Same with the wet method, okay? I've always traditionally been a wet tape method kind of person. Emily's actually the one that told me like, hey, you should think of it in a different way because there's electronics and components. So make sure that you're paying attention there. All right. Was on the longer side, but very long. Oh, I want to go back to that question here in 1 second. Let me go ahead and just peel some of this up. I just want to get some of these bubbles out of the cutter itself. And I can just slowly work them all out from the front to the back. And if I ever need to, what I can always do too is I can always grab my material. And again, I can peel pieces that I've already laid down, and then I can simply lay them down again to get all these little bubbles or any like imperfections out of the actual cutter itself. So with that, give me 2 seconds here. Let's finish putting this guy down here. Just a little shimmy, shimmy, shimmy wiggle on both sides. And we work it all the way down. So there's a million different methods for wrapping. Honestly, one of my original videos that I'd ever done for Siser or on the Siser platform was actually me wrapping my phone using PSV. So that's one that you can go back into the Wayback Machine, into the archives, and check out at your leisure. All right, so got the cutter wrapped, done. The last thing that I need to really do is just peel off the carrier. And if I find any spots that need to be fixed amongst the cutter itself, I can always come back and fix those if I need it. So let's go ahead, peel all of that off. Boom goes the dynamite. And then we're back. So you can see there's a little tiny imperfections here and there. Where did my squeegee go? Little tiny air bubbles, but I can just slowly work those through until I get all the way to an edge. Now, if I get an air bubble like right here, okay, what I can actually do is I can grab my weeder, or I can grab a little one blade. Because that PSV doesn't solidify 100% right away, I can always peel that up and I can smooth out any imperfections. Okay, so we can make it really, really simple on how to fix this and also decorate in a cool way. So there you go. That's the base way to actually wrapping your cutter. So anyway, all right, let's go over really quick. I'm saying anyway a lot because I'm stalling for time. Let's go over to the comments really fast and check out what you guys are saying. Obviously, this is a really fun project. I want to get into the next one. When you finally get the hinge method to work with the Patrick mind blowing tip. Hopefully you can make it work. All right. Your material should not be moving anywhere. Let's see. Caitlin, has your pinch wheels lined up? Oh, okay. So this looks like more of a roller or a something that's been answered. I just want to make sure that I went back in the comments. All right. So we've shown you how to wrap the cutter. Really simple thing. The template is sitting for you right now to use at your leisure inside Leonardo Design Studio. Why don't we do this? Why don't we hop onto a side panel? Let's cut out some brick. Let's apply some brick to some PSV. Let's see if that'll work. I don't know. All right. Really quickly, hopping into Leonardo Design Studio, let's grab our Siser design. So now that everything is sized correctly, the side panels, just going to do a quick measurement before I get onto the cutting portion of this. Looks like those are just about right. Okay, cool. And I'm going to show you how to trim these up in the event that they're a little bit too big or too wide. All right, so I'm going to zoom in to just my side panels, okay? I'm going to go into the design library, and let's see what else we got when we type in, what materials do I have? Let's just do Siser. Let's see what pops up when I type in Siser. Ooh, there we go. This would be a fun one for a side panel. All right, so I'm going to pull this design to the side. I'm going to actually zoom way in, and we're going to remove, I'm going to keep just the Siser portion of it for now, and I'm going to remove the graffiti portions of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Perfect. And if you guys want to know any navigation or any navigation help that you need, things like that inside Leonardo, check out the first couple of After Darks where we go over really in depth all of those things. All right, this looks really cool. So let's add a cool Siser logo to it, the word Siser, and then on this one, let's kind of do like a little step and repeat. So the original launch video for this method was showing a bunch of hearts. So let's kind of mimic that a little bit. And just so you know, for this, what I can do is I can take my one heart, and if I want, I can still use that tile array. And all I have to do is really just kind of build out a big square and hit apply. And then all of those hearts I can kind of fit in here any way that I want. And from there, I can highlight both the hearts. Oh, I think all these hearts are individual. Let's do that. Let's highlight the hearts. Let's highlight the circle. Let's come down here, hit that intersect. And as you can see, when I highlight a shape, okay, I'm going to go back for you really quick. When I highlight a shape, which is just the circle, and then I also highlight another shape and then hit the intersect, it wants to find the common path between everything. So what we were able to do is we were able to take that side panel and we were able to create a bunch of hearts out of it, but also keeping the same shape and width and everything of that circle that we originally had, okay? So with that, I'm going to use this shape. I'm going to cut 2 of these out, and I'm going to use this shape to my advantage so that I can show you guys how to apply both brick, and I think we're going to apply something else today. Not sure yet, but we're going to try something else. Okay, I need 2 of these panels. We'll put it right up here. Make sure those are even. Those are in the origin. Let's take this, make sure that's in our origin. This is in the origin. Good. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Let me grab some. Let's go with white for the hearts. We're going to go with white matte PSV for the hearts. I'm going to cut this out really quickly. Let's go. What is that? About 12 inches. All right. Throw this into our cutter. Everything's already been test cut, so we're good to go. And I'm just going to send this on over really quickly so that we can get these cuts going. And as that's going through, I'm going to start setting up my next file. So we're going to use the red for the Siser logo. So I have some red brick. Alrighty, so those are done. I have some red. Ooh. I'm learning new technology still, guys. You're learning with me. We're all here together. We're all in this world together. I got my white, I have my red brick ready to go, but I think what I want to do, let's actually go over really quickly. Let's head back over. Let's see if there's any other fun materials that we can try. Anna, hit me with a material. Let's do, you want to do StripFlock? Let's do StripFlock. And then give me some hearts in the comments if we want to do glitter too. And try that. We might as well try it all, right? Let's go. Oh, here we go. StripFlock Pro, and then let's do glitter flamingo pink. There we go. All right. So give me a second. We're going to do glitter flamingo pink, actually, for the hearts. And then we're going to do the brick for the Siser logo. And then let's just, for the fun of it, let's test StripFlock. Why not? Why not test it out? All righty. Go ahead and cut that one down. Let's get the brick ready to go. Cool. Hopefully you guys are liking the random changing of angles in the studio. We're hoping that this is a normal thing. So, all right. Oh yeah, we got lots of hearts. All right, cool. I have some pink glitter, and then we have some red brick. I brought over some red StripFlock just so we could test it out for the fun of testing out things. But let's start with our brick. Let's get our Siser logo cut really quick of brick. Now, quick little pro tip. Remember, we're moving from PSV to HTV and back and forth. So keep in mind that you're paying attention to what parts of your design are going to be with HTV, because remember, we still have to mirror our designs, okay? All righty, let's see. What was the cut first? Kristen, what do you mean by that? What was the cut first? While I'm testing this out, I'll give you a second to chime in on that one. All right, let's see. Oop, don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we have enough force. Let's go to 30 here. All right, what'd you say? What was the cut first? Oh, what did you cut the base layer from? Oh, base layer of everything. That's why I wanted to show you guys how to wrap in PSV. The base layer of everything is just pressure sensitive vinyl. So just adhesive. I'm using only Starling for that, okay? All righty. Let me make sure that the brick weeds out perfect. Good deal. I'm gonna push that on over to the side. And we are going to send mirror first, and then send on over our Siser logo. And then while that's going, I'm going to queue up the hearts so that we can try that too. Yeah, so Kristen, sorry, that was pressure sensitive vinyl Starling PSV in collaboration with Avery Dennison, our friends. Bing, bing. All right, while that's cutting out, I'm going to send over the next cut, and I want to show you guys a manual way. Actually, you know what? I'll show you on a different cutter because I want to use this for this project. I want to show you guys just a manual way where you can wrap something quickly and use a one blade to score and cut it, as opposed to having to just use your cutter all the time. Because for some of you, you may not have a cutter at home, but maybe you want to use this wrap method on other things around the house. I've done my computers in the past, my kids' video game systems, a lot of different things. So actually, Adam, if you're in the comments still, if you can find over on our channel, it's going to be in the way back machine, so you might have to go through it. send over that link if you can put it in the thing. If you can't, no big deal. Alrighty. Why didn't they make the cover for the Siser Romeo? Ooh, that's a great question. So this is actually an awesome question that we just got. Why didn't we make a cover for the Romeo? So here's the reason why. Typically with commercial cutters, the, you know, high production, Rollins, Graphtec, stuff like that, usually have an open platform. And the reason why they have that is a lot of times you're putting bigger logs of material behind it. It's less likely for you to move the cutter as it is to actually manipulate the material around it or have to move around it. Whereas a Juliet, being in the more of the craft space, I hate to say it, call it a craft cutter because it really isn't, but being more in that craft cutter space, having that door and that hood on it, number one, it just looks cute. You know, we're all about the visual aspect of the cutter itself. But the other part is it's a lot easier to manipulate and move that thing around if you need to. Now, there are some people out there, I'm going to throw it in our live on the Siser channel, but I'm not going to tell you that we sanction it or not. But I have seen some people that do just remove the cover from their cutter itself and remove the door. I'm not going to say that there's just a couple little screws to do it. I'm not telling you that because that's not what we have to say. But there have been some people that do that just to have more of that open platform feel. So you have that choice if you want. All right. There was another good one too. Why didn't make a cover? Okay, hold on one second. Why didn't they make, nope, that one was it. Where was the next one? Random question. With the rollers at the back, do we have levers up or down? Ooh, very good question. So with the rollers on the back side of the machine, do you have control of them to move them up and down? Well, let me show you. On the back side of your cutter itself, and you can see the little pinch wheels right now, there's a main rocker arm is what it's called here. You can see it poking out, little antenna right there. This controls all three pinch wheels individually. So this will actually raise the pinch wheels so you can slide material in and out of the cutter just like that. Or you can then put your material in, pinch it down, and you can cut. Now, somebody did ask, there's a middle pinch wheel. That's because all of the pinch wheels are actually mobile on this thing. You can move them around to fit kind of any size material, any size project that you may need it for. So anyway, alrighty. So almost done weeding out the brick. I want to show you really quickly heat applying this to the PSV, and then what we'll do is we'll do the other project, and then we'll wrap the cutter both ends at the same time, just so we can get 2 presses done. We can get some things cutting. So let me go ahead and load this material up, do a quick little test cut on it. Let me move that over. See, this is a good example. Like I have some material that I want to kind of adjust those pinch wheels and shrink them in just a little bit so it will hold my material a little better. And with that, I can easily do it. Alrighty, because it's brick, glitter, I want to go up just a little bit. There we go. Alrighty, done. Cool. Sorry, I wasn't giving you the fancy cutter cam when I was just loading that one thing up. All right, again, I'm using heat transfer vinyl, not pressure sensitive. Make sure you mirror your image. Now, if you need to know how to do it inside Leonardo, we give you a simple button to be able to mirror your designs. Makes it really easy. I'm going to hit send to cutter. And then from there, we are cutting away. All right, let me finish weeding out this piece really quick. I realize this is really hard without people in the room reading the comments too. All right, let's go into the newest stuff first. Bought a telescope transport carrying case that I take my Juliet's craft shows. That's awesome. So I've seen people that do that. I've also seen a lot of folks that will get like the rigid cases and some of the tool chests from Home Depot. Those work really, really well, especially if they fit. And if you have like a foam factory or somewhere you can cut custom foam out, you can even sometimes find cases with the foam in them on Amazon. It's a really easy way to make a custom case for your cutter too. I've also seen a lot of you guys do really fun things with dust covers and like sewing your own. I think that that's awesome. All right. All righty, let's go. I'm gonna make sure that I see the circles so I don't cut into them. There we go. Let's actually just weed this out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just weeding away the 2 circles that we're gonna actually heat apply to. Done. Oh, also too, thank you for everybody that responded very quickly to the impromptu giveaway that we did. You really helped us to get some of the materials that we just kind of had like hanging around out of the way. So we really appreciate that. And we hope that it went to a good home. There was 3 lucky winners. Each of those prizes were like £5 each. It was kind of crazy. All right. Runzo, dunzo, dunzo. Let's now hop on to the overhead so we can start working. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off, but because it's a white backer, it's harder to see the PSV sometimes. So let's try to make this as easy as possible. Cut that in half. So now one of these panels will have the Siser logo attached to it. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut out my glitter that I just made. And then this one will be a really, really easy weed because there's actually no cavities to this design. Let's go ahead. Peel, peel, peel. Peel, peel, peel. All right, we're good to go. Done, done. And then now I can peel off the excess. So again, what I always suggest with these kind of things too, cut a little bit closer to the design itself. It just helps prevent any like weird sticking or tackiness to the actual pressure sensitive vinyl once we go to peel it off. The glitter will actually kind of add a cool effect because sometimes there's little tiny pieces of glitter flakes that may shed onto the actual carrier, but sometimes it'll show up on your PSV. So we might even have a fun little glittery one. Let's see. Has all that. Let's see, Adam. Oh, good question, Adam. Good question. I'm assuming there's deals all the time. All right, so with that, I got now my glitter hearts and our Siser logo. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hop on over to the heat press. Move this stuff out of the way. And move this out of the way. And now we can kind of go through the heat application. So here's what you're going to do. Let's make sure for these that we throw a piece of parchment paper down, not just because Emily would kill me if I didn't say that, but also because it does help to protect your lower platen, and it helps for any spillage that could potentially happen with your adhesive. So the first thing we're going to go with is we're going to go with our brick layer. Okay, so I'm going to put my material down. I'm going to lay my brick layer on top. And then for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, whether it's parchment, whether it's butcher paper, I'm just going to grab something a little bit heavier so it helps to flatten out both the PSV and the heat transfer material. And then what we're going to do is press this at about 280 degrees for right around 10 seconds. Okay. So once we heat apply this, we got 3, 2, 1, and lift this up, what we need to make sure that we do is first remove it from our heat press right away. Okay. And we're going to simply set this to the side and let it cool. Okay. Here's the reason why we're going to do that. The adhesive gets super hot. Think about it like butter. You put it in the microwave, it melts. You sit it on the counter, it hardens. We've just melted all the adhesive, or we've started to melt that adhesive so that we can apply the HTV to the PSV. However, we also apply or heated up or started to slowly melt the adhesive from the PSV. Doesn't damage the material as long as we let this cool all the way down before we actually peel like the carrier of the HTV, sorry. So let's go ahead on the overhead, and I want to show you all I do. So I'm simply going to peel that all the way off. And now, as you can see, I have, well, my heat transfer, my brick kind of applied to a random white piece of paper. So let's go ahead and flip up the cutter. Give you a nice little side panel. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel. And as you can see, I'm peeling off now the PSV, but I'm going to go ahead and hold it this way. And the one thing that I hope that I did correctly is I hope that I put the logo in the right orientation. So again, I'm going to use the same method I did before on the side panel, but this time instead, I'm just simply folding over one piece of the actual carrier itself. I'm just going to line that up, and I'm going to actually pull that into place just so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. And sorry, I'm trying to make it awkward for me so that you guys can see it really, really well. Let's go ahead and apply it right about there. Cool. So let me go ahead really fast and just put it down because it's a little tall, so it's harder for me to see it. Let me make sure that I'm lined up appropriately. Let's go ahead, lay that down. Done, done. Cool. Okay. So now that I have this started, let me hop right back onto the overhead. So I have now this folded. All I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly peel back the actual carrier sheet, and I'm just going to press down my PSV as I'm slowly peeling. And you can see right here, there's a few little bubbles hanging around. There's some bubbles up top. All I need to do is take my squeege, give it a little bit of what I like to call the hoot, scoot, and boogie, and work it over to the edges. Never try to push your material towards the center because that could affect, obviously, your brick layer. It could affect any material you're laying down, but it also is not pushing the bubbles away and letting the air escape from underneath the material. It's just kind of like sitting it in the center of the actual cutter head itself, or the, side panel or whatever piece that you're getting ready to lay down. But check that out. Got a little tiny bubble there I got to get rid of. Sorry, I'm looking at this from the overhead, so I apologize, guys. All right, let's go ahead and just work that bubble out. And also, if for whatever reason you have a tiny little bubble right there that you're trying to get to remove, grab a weeding tool. Quick little trick. Don't gouge it, just simply poke it once. And what you'll do is you're going to work the bubble towards the center of that little piece that you just poked, towards the center of the hole itself. And then eventually, just like that, it'll go away. I'm like that. I'm literally like the Bob Ross of the craft industry. I feel like this is awesome. I feel so cool and special right now because I just taught you how to poke something with a weeder. You know, it's the little things. It's the little things, people, that matter. So check that out. Not only do we have a really cool wrap up top, but we also have now our Siser logo on the other side. So I think what that means is we need to hop right on back over to the heat press and let's check it out and see if our glitter will actually work the same way. So because I did the intersect, the actual glitter layer should land almost perfectly on this circle now. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Again, I'm just going to grab something a little bit heavier. Butcher paper's heavier, the non-glossy side, just so you know. Or you want to use just another piece of parchment paper. In this case, again, I'm just throwing a Teflon sheet over it. Not super worried about it overheating or anything. As long as, again, I remove everything and I allow that material to cool down completely. So I'm going to give this a second to cool while I'm answering some questions or seeing what you guys have to say in the comments. Hey, Sharon. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Hoot, scoot, and boogie. That's my new word, I guess. All righty. Emily, don't take any. I'm not taking any crazy risks. I promise you. Regardless of the HTV, should it be around 280 degrees temperature? Yes. Regardless of what HTV you're using, the cool thing is that if you do, for whatever reason, start noticing like, oh, the adhesive is sticking weird or whatever, you can heat apply any of our heat transfer material to PSV anywhere in the ballpark of, I've done it as low as 250 degrees Fahrenheit and as high as 370 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to be safe. It's not a fabric where it has to like melt in and bond to the fabric fibers. This is more of a solid to a solid. You're really just, it's like putting two pieces of tape together kind of, without obviously dulling down the material, but it's kind of that same concept. All right, so check this out. Now what I can do, I can just peel that adhesive off. For this one, I'm going to show it to you like this. I'm just going to fold so that I can see most of the material itself, okay? And then I'm going to flip this on over. And once again, do my best to line this up as I'm looking on the overhead. All righty. So there and there. Looks about right. Let's just fit those hearts right there. Perfect. All right. Just going to lay those down. And what I'm going to actually do this time, and I'm doing something a little crazy, a little different than what we're used to doing. I actually laid this down with the heat transfer carrier on because I wanted to see what happens once I remove that. All right, check that out. So I have really, there's a couple little spots where there's like adhesive that's stuck down, but that actually eliminated a lot of bubbles. There's only a couple little ones for me to kind of work through. And the cool thing is that, all right, so a little lesson, little industry knowledge for you guys, if you care to hear my spiel for a couple seconds. Car wrap pressure sensitive vinyl, okay, car wrap material is different than a regular, like a Starling pressure sensitive vinyl, okay? Car wrap vinyl, a lot of them have these little tiny air channels that are in between the adhesive, which makes like squeegeeing, things like that, really easy because there's these little air channels that all that air can travel through and get pushed out. The other method is a wet method where you're spraying a small mist. However, that's a specific type of adhesive on a specific type of vinyl. So you shouldn't just start spraying your cutter thinking it's going to work. Okay. But what we just kind of discovered is that using a design, much like these little cutesy bootsy hearts on here, this actually kind of started to create little tiny air channels for me. So once I laid this down, actually all of the bubbles themselves came out really, really clean and easy this way. So I was really happy with that. Fun and interesting result. Give me some hearts in the comments if you guys want to try this or you're going to try this after dark. And if you're over on YouTube watching this after the fact, make sure that you chime in down in the comments below. Let us know if this is something that you're going to try and if you've already tried it. But we love to always see if you guys do try this on your cutters, make sure that you're over in our support group at Siser North America Support so that you can always, number one, stay up to date on everything, but you can also share your fun projects. And you never know, might do a giveaway or something like that sometimes in the group. You never know. You gotta kind of join to find out all of the fun information. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We wrapped not only the top, we've added a cool color. We wrapped the side with the Siser with the brick. We wrapped the other side with the glitter and the hearts. I promised you that we would at least test StripFlock Pro. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a front panel. Let's see if StripFlock Pro works. And let's add that in just for, as the kids say nowadays, just for schnitz and giggles. All right. Okay, let's back out. I'm going stir crazy. That's usually when you know it's time for me to get out of here. Okay, so let's do this. Let's throw up some text. Don't forget to mirror. Because everybody sometimes needs a friendly reminder to not to forget to mirror. Let's pick a fancy fun font. This looks cool. I like that. It's not really that fancy or fun, but it is a cool little thing we can do. All right, we go ahead and rotate this. Here's my little front door. Let me stretch this on out. This is what I call using your cutter and your craft skills for good, people. We're reminding ourselves to make sure that we always mirror our material anytime we're using it. So let me grab my StripFlock. Load that on up. Do a quick little test cut just to make sure that our test cuts are working. And then done. Done, done, done. Okay, cool. That worked out great. Now what I'm going to do is just put the blade right to the side of the test cut, and I'm going to send this on over. Now, I'm using heat transfer vinyl first. Now I'm bouncing back over to pressure sensitive vinyl. So I need to make sure that I unmirror my design, or my pressure sensitive vinyl could potentially be in the wrong orientation. For this one, It's the same shape regardless of what way you turn it, but if I'm using the top panel and I don't organize it or align it the right way, it could be a little off once we actually get to producing. All right, and then for this one, since we used white PSV, we used the blue PSV, let's go ahead and use some black PSV for the front panel. Making a fun little hodgepodge here of this cutter, but Miss Juliet needs to throw something on. You know, we got to dress her up a little bit every once in a while. All righty. Can't do hearts on a laptop. All right. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and remove that. That's going to fit beautifully. Let's make sure that we grab this PSV, throw it into our cutter. I'm going to do, again, a quick test cut. And you guys can see in real time. I'll actually throw this over to the cutter again. You guys can see in real time how quickly I can change the speed, do a quick test cut. Okay, check my test cut, which is the most important, to make sure that it's cutting the right way and efficiently and perfect every time. And then I'm already set up and I'm right on to cutting. Immediately, done. Super quick, super fast, but that's the Siser way. That's why we do this. And I'm done with that piece. All right, so let's get this one last one done and knocked out. Then we all can go home. We can go to bed. If you haven't already heard the news, this will be dated a little bit for the YouTube video, but if you haven't heard the news, we have just signed on one of our newest distributors, which is Stalls. And I'll actually be going live tomorrow on their podcast, the Heat Press for Profit podcast, with Liz, with a buddy of mine in the industry, Liz. She's awesome. So if you guys want to tune in, check that out tomorrow. That'll be a fun one to watch. If you're watching over on YouTube right now, after the fact, just check out our YouTube channel over on our live playlist, and you'll see the episode playback from the podcast episode. So we're excited about that one. All righty, I'm going to go ahead and weed this out. And as you can see, for me, I'm big on, if I can't just simply grab the material and hand weed it, the cut is not correct. Should be able to just hand peel HTV. You can use a weeder. You definitely can. But if you can't hand peel it, you got to take a look again at your setup and make sure your blade's the right depth, all of that kind of good stuff. All right. Perfect. All righty. Going to go ahead and peel out all those cavities, any and all. And as you guys can see, we're making a cover for this cutter within an hour, but if I were to just sit down and do this, this would probably take me less than 10 minutes to get all of these done. All right, that's done. And Anna, Emily, and Adam, I have a lot of material for the scrap bin. I just kind of like went hodgepodge and cut a bunch of stuff. All righty. So again, if I can't hand peel that, it's not right for me. You know what, Anna? That's not nice. All right. Everybody's excited to be in the live again. All right. Everybody's excited to see us again. All right. I have my PSV. I have my HTV, my StripFlock. Let's go ahead and lay this down. Going to line up my StripFlock on there. Done. We're just going to lay that on over it. Oop. Don't want to expose anything. There we go. And then I'm going to heat apply that for 10 seconds. One thing that's really cool that I was going to mention to you as well when you are heat applying, again, you don't need that high of heat. You don't need that long of a time to actually accomplish this. Just like that. Look at that. Oh, wait, let me put on the overhead because that camera's a little dark. Still figuring out the lighting in here, people. We'll get it together. So there's that. I'm just going to let it cool down completely to the touch. Ooh, is Roseanne in here now? I thought you were in here earlier, Roseanne. Hi. Long time no talkie. Long time no see. All right. Now I can go ahead and I can peel, oops, my StripFlock off, just like that. Remind the folks at home, don't forget to mirror, people. Don't forget to mirror. Okay. Let's wrap up this cutter and let's wrap up this live. The first one back, a little rocky start. That's okay. We're here for it. We're all here for it. We're all in it together. Just like Troy Bolton said in High School Musical, we're all in this together. Anyway. All right. So for this one, I am going to do the long waist hinge method. So let me show you guys how to do this really quick to make this really, really easy to accomplish. So again, I'm going to move the cutter out of the way, take my material, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to pre-peel. Oops, there we go. I'm going to pre-peel. Actually, you know, let me show you this with parchment paper, how much easier it is too. Let's take that off. Take a piece of parchment. Go ahead and lay that down just like that to one side. Lay that down to the other side. Okay. I'm just going to cut this to size. Done. And then again, I'm just going to peel it halfway. Cut it down the middle. And then I'm going to leave a small little gap. Just like that. Done. Now I'm going to bring it over to my cutter. I'm going to line it up. And because I'm using the parchment paper, I can really see the edges of where I'm aligning this. Edge to edge to edge. I can throw a piece of tape in there, or I can just use the PSV to hold it into place. Peel one half of it up. Take off the tape. Take off the parchment paper or whatever we're using to guard the back. Give it a tiny little stretch. And then make sure you push it from the center first, long ways in the center, and then always pushing out towards the edges to get all those air bubbles out of there. And just like that, you can lay this down in one shot without any air bubbles at all. Just like that. Other side, we're just going to grab it. Again, give it a little stretch. Push down the center first, long ways, and then push up towards the edges, up towards the corners. Now, I purposely overwrap this one a little bit because I wanted to show you a quick little fix. If you do cut your PSV a little too long, simply take a one blade, and all you're going to do is find the nearest crack next to the PSV, and you can run your blade right into the edge, and just like that, I got a little tiny piece there that I peeled off. So I was able to cut that directly to the edges of the cutter itself. Awesome sausage. It should be so much easier to weed with text. Yeah. So that was, I think, I want to say that was either Emily. I want to say Emily just told me that right before too. Said that it's much easier just to use HTV, especially like Easy Weed, than it would be to like actually layer all these panels. All right. I got a light dying. A light's starting to flicker right here. So I'm just going to go and get the heck out of here. Look at the lights are telling me, Patrick, get out of here. We don't even want you. So let me drop all the links really quick for you guys. I actually got a new thing I'm going to try. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds. I know I put the right code in here. Right up, this way. Right up here now. Boop, 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 boop. There's a little QR code up in the upper hand screen. You guys can actually scan that. Anna, will you test it for me just to make sure? You can scan this, and this will actually go directly to our link tree, which has all of our social links. So something I'm just trying today, throwing it in there. If you're watching over on YouTube, scan this little QR code, and you're going to be good to go. Let me flip this light off because nobody wants flickering in their face. We don't want any trigger warnings in here. All right, that one's dead. We're done with that one. All right, you get rid of this one really quick. So you guys can scan that there, see if that one works for you. That one's good. So go start a new building. Yeah, for real, I feel like it. I already told Anna, I said I'm a little creeped out by being here by myself in the new building because it's a big building, but it's a fun building. So anyway, let me go through everything else really quick. You guys already know where to find us over at Siser North America. That's www.siserna.com. We made it easy for you to remember. If you ever have any problems, any issues, or you just want to talk to somebody, maybe you need a crafting hug, reach out to us over at info@siserna.com. We have the best support team in the industry. give us a quick little buzz to support@siserna.com. If you have any technical issues with your cutters, you want to just chat with one of us, you want to tell us about your problems in Leonardo or about crafting and how we can help, we're always here for you. They do an amazing job. But make sure that you're following along on all platforms. That's Instagram @Siser North America, Facebook @Siser North America, not to get too confusing, YouTube @Siser North America. And make sure that if you are over on Facebook, that you join our Siser North America support group. This is the best place where you can go to learn from like-minded people, crafters like you, people in our group that are in our company that are responding all the time. We're always in there. We're always having fun. But make sure that you hang out with us. Join us on all platforms. Make sure that you're seeing all the fun Siser things. I'm so happy that we're finally back. I'm looking at comments too at the same time. So happy to be back, finally doing lives again, finally making content again, finally having some fun with you guys, back with you guys, learning and teaching all at the same time. Thank you for watching another After Dark. The next one is going to be really, really fun. Oh, I got one other thing. Sorry, I just lost a bunch of people. Update in Leonardo. 1.1.31 is now officially graduated. So you can go into the Leonardo Design Studio today. You can download the newest update. It's no longer in beta. We've said it is clear for consumption. So go ahead and make sure, if you haven't updated your software today, make sure that you go ahead and update that as soon as possible. ASAP, as they say for short, so that you can always stay up to date on all things that are inside Leonardo Design Studio. But if that's it, until next time, well, bye everyone.